Hi y'all, welcome to my channel, and in today's video I am going to be sharing with you 5 things that I wish I would have known before I started homeschooling. So stay tuned. Alright, well, if you are new, welcome to my channel, Pursuing Peace. My name is Dina and I am a homeschooling mama of 5 kiddos, 7 and under. And on this channel, I share my passions for Christ, for homeschooling, and for encouraging mamas in their faith and in this amazing, sometimes it gets a little bit crazy and we'll talk about that later, but it is still an amazing season of motherhood. So if you'd like to join me on this journey, then click the subscribe button down below. And don't forget to click the little bell icon so that way you know whenever new videos pop up. You can also follow me over on Instagram at Dina_Pursuing Peace. Well, this video is in collaboration with Julie over at Stars of Jewels, and she is a mama of 4 kiddos, 11 years old down to a 1-year-old, and has great content about homeschooling and gluten-free cooking and cleaning and organizing. So if you are into any of that, then please check out her channel. I will leave her video linked down below in the description box. So after this video, you can go check out the things that she wishes that she knew before she started homeschooling. Okay, so this is our 4th year homeschooling. We've been homeschooling since the get-go, since my oldest was in preschool. So if I could write a letter to my younger self, giving myself homeschool advice, then these are the things that I would tell myself. So like I said before, I'm going to share 5 different things that I wish I would have known before I started homeschooling, but I do have a bonus one that I want to share with you at the end of the video. So stay tuned to the end of the video because you are not going to want to miss it. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into these, and these are in no particular order. So number 1, there are going to be hard days. Every homeschooling family experiences hard days. So knowing from the get-go that I was going to experience challenges, then I think it would help once that challenges did come, in a sense that, you know, I would be a little bit more prepared for it. And to be honest with you guys, we didn't start experiencing hard days until later on. It's only been recently that we've really started experiencing harder days. When we first started homeschooling, I had 3 kids and I was pregnant with my 4th, and it was just preschool and tot school, and you know, we were kind of just figuring things out as we were going, and it was a lot of fun. My kids enjoyed it, and so I didn't really understand that there would be more challenging days going forward, along with telling myself there is going to be hard days. I think I would have also said they might not come right away, but just be prepared in the long run. Like in a few years, you might start to get things that are just a little bit more challenging. You know, like one kid might have trouble with a certain subject, or everybody, now that you have 5 kids, everybody does not necessarily doesn't want to do school, but everyone is just not paying attention. What tends to happen a lot with our family too is if one person is in a bad mood, then it kind of is contagious, you know. And so just remember that those days are going to happen. And because you have a bad moment in your day, doesn't necessarily mean that that whole day is shot. Maybe you just need a break. Maybe you just need to go outside and play. Maybe the kids need to sit and watch TV for 30 minutes while you just kind of breathe and kind of reset your mind, pray, you know, reset your heart, so that way going forward in the day, then you'd be okay. I know we've had to do that a few times, where you don't have to lose the entire day and just kind of throw it to the wind. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes those days will happen. But you don't necessarily, because you have a bad moment or because you're struggling with a certain child, maybe you just need a break. Just a break, 10, 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Reset, pray, ask God to come in and help you, that you need His supernatural strength to help you. And then try it again and keep going. So yes, I would tell myself you are going to have hard days, but that doesn't mean you are doing anything wrong. It just means you are a family living life together, and that's kind of what happens. The second thing that I would tell myself is your child is not behind. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that we're a little bit on the struggle bus right now as far as getting through some of our curriculum, and one of my children is having trouble, just a little bit of trouble reading and a little bit of trouble focusing, and then it's just taking us longer to get through curriculum than I thought it would. But when you homeschool, see, here's the thing, when you homeschool, it does not take as long to homeschool one child or even 5 children as it takes to school them in public school, because in public school or in private school or whatever, you have a lot more children, and so it takes them a longer period of time to get the same amount done than it does in homeschooling, if that makes sense. So for instance, with my oldest who is in 1st grade, kind of going into 2nd grade, we only really do 1 hour of sit down work with her. That's like her math, her handwriting, her language arts. Like, we only do 1 hour a day with her. Whereas if she was in public school, then it would take a lot longer for them to get the same amount done. Not because what they do is a bad thing, but because there's just so many kids to one teacher. So you just can't do it. And so because of that, in homeschool, we can have those hard days. You can have a 1st grader doing kindergarten work because 1, it's not going to take them that long to catch up, and 2, that's where they're supposed to be. One of the beauties of homeschooling is that we can go at the child's pace. Now, I'm not saying like don't teach your child to read until like 9th grade just because he doesn't want to, like that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is if your child is showing some struggles in a certain area, it doesn't have to be reading, it could be math, it could be science, it could be whatever. If they're showing a little bit of struggle in that area, then you can take your time and you can mold the curriculum to work for you and your child instead of trying to push them along just because you ended the school year. Something that got me is our friends on the other side of the world, on the southern hemisphere, like New Zealand and Australia, they start school like in January, right? Or something like that, because their seasons are different. So who says that you have to start school in August and end school in May or June or whatever? You don't have to follow what the public school system is. There is so much freedom in homeschooling. And so the beauty of this is that when whatever subject you're struggling with clicks, finally, then your child will zoom ahead because they will have that foundation and they won't have any gaps, if that makes sense. Where your child is at is where they are supposed to be. The third thing that I would tell myself is that it's okay to switch curriculum in the middle of the year. Now, y'all, there is no perfect curriculum out there. You guys know that I love the good and the beautiful. You know that I love Beautiful Feet books. You know that I love Usborne books. You know that I love all of these different things. But none of them are perfect in and of themselves. It's how we use them in our family that makes it work for us. And so if one curriculum really isn't working for you and you've tried kind of molding it to work for your family, then it's okay to cut that one off and go on to the next one. It really is okay. Something that works for us is not going to work for each one of you guys. And something that works for y'all might not work for us. So it really, really just depends on you and your family and your specific needs, your children, and don't try to stick with a curriculum just because you want to get through it. And now on the flip side of that, don't just change curriculum willy-nilly either, because that can really get frustrating for you and your child. And so don't do that either. But if you have really tried to work with a curriculum and it just doesn't seem to be working out, then just try a different one. Switch. And you know what? There might be seasons where you use a certain curriculum and it's working great, and then all of a sudden it doesn't and you have to switch. And you know what? Maybe in the next season, you'll go back to that other curriculum. Who knows? But that's the beauty of homeschooling. You find out what works for you. The fourth thing I would tell myself is you do not have to do every subject every day. Now, I have always focused on the core subjects for our kids: language arts, math, and handwriting. Those have always been the three things that we do every day. Now, if you've seen any of my videos recently, you know that we have kind of gone into a rotation with even those subjects, where we do math one day and then we'll do language arts. Handwriting we'll do every day, but math one day and then we'll do language arts the next day, math the next day, and so on and so forth. Because I wanted to bring in some other things into our homeschool. I wanted to bring in more read alouds, and we started our symposium time, which is our morning basket. We do circle time with the little kids. Well, we do circle time with all the kids, but it's mostly for the little kids, for my little tot schooler and preschooler. We do bring in a lot of our classical conversations during symposium time. So we've got a little bit of science on one day and a little bit of history on another day and a little bit of English on another day, but just a tiny bit. But don't feel like you have to do math, language arts, history, science, handwriting, art, like everything. You do not have to do everything in one day. And I know that that's what the public school system does, but you really don't have to do that. When we are doing a science unit study, for the most part, I will do it maybe twice a week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or I will take a break from the other subjects like math and language arts completely and just focus a week or 2 weeks on that one history unit study or geography unit study or a science unit study. That way we can really get into it. But you don't have to do every subject every day. Do not try to do that, you guys. If you do, you're gonna burn out, and you're gonna burn out pretty quickly. And the fifth thing I would tell myself is what works for one kid might not work for the next kid. Now, we've heard over and over, don't compare yourself to another homeschooling family. Every family is different, and that is true. Please, yes, do not do that. But what I've learned over the years is I also cannot compare my children to each other, because they just have different interests, and they just have different learning styles, and they are two different human beings, two completely unique human beings created in the image of God, that God has given completely different personalities to. And so it's just not fair to them if I try to stick with one curriculum, stick with one routine, one thing with all of them, because they're different. They're different people, and that's one of the reasons we homeschool, is so that I can find how their brain works and their personality and tailor what I'm teaching them to fit that. For example, my first child, Abby, she is an avid reader. She started reading and just took off with it, and I never had any problems with her. But my second child, Solomon, he is having a little bit of trouble reading because he is a different personality. And so the things that worked for Abby don't necessarily work for Solomon. I'm having to find different ways to go about teaching him how to read. But on the flip side of that, he has consumed our history sentences from classical conversations and the presidents. He absolutely loved the presidents. He knows everything about the presidents of the United States. I couldn't even name all of the presidents before this year, so he's doing pretty good. So he just kind of grasps hold onto certain things that Abby, I don't know if she cares that much about the presidents. But that's okay, because they're two different people. Another example is that my third child, Aubrey, she is taking off with everything, with math, with reading, with spelling. She wants to do it. She has a hunger for it. And so I started her on The Good and the Beautiful's Math Level K at 4 years old, actually at 3 years old. And I didn't do that with any of my other children because I didn't think that they were ready. But with Aubrey, I thought that she was ready, and she is thriving on it, and she loves it. But with my next child, you know, I have to gauge whether or not she is going to be ready at 3. She might not be, to be quite honest. And it's okay if I wait till 4 or even 5 to start her on that, because I don't want her to get frustrated at such a young age with doing school. And so again, what works for one child is not necessarily going to work with another, and that's okay. All right, you guys, so those were my 5, but I did promise you a bonus one. So my bonus tip that I would tell myself before I started homeschooling would be, don't forget about the discounts. Y'all, there are so many discounts that we can get as homeschoolers. Like Office Depot has one. You can get a discount on Adobe software. You can get a discount on Microsoft software. Barnes & Noble, the Container Store, Joann's, Michael's has a teacher's discount, and there are just so many more. If you just Google like homeschool discounts, even in your area, or field trips for that are specifically for homeschoolers, because they do that, and that's wonderful. In some places like Barnes & Noble, you actually have to fill something out, but they give you, I think it's like 25%, you guys. So it's a good discount. It is a good amount, and it is worth filling whatever paper out that they want you to fill out. I know if you are in a state where you have to be a part of kind of a third-party homeschool association, then a lot of times they will give you a homeschool card, or kind of a teacher's card, where you can take that, and then, you know, that's kind of proof that, hey, I'm a teacher, I'm homeschooling my kids. Then those stores or the websites or whatever will give you that teacher's discount. So my advice is, don't buy anything until you know for sure whether or not you can get a discount. All right, you guys, well, those are my tips. That's what I would wish that I would have known before I started homeschooling. I hope that it helped you out. I hope that it encouraged you. Don't forget to go over and check out Julie's video at Stars of Jules. I'm sure that she's gonna have some great tips for you guys also. And again, I will leave her video down in the description box. All right, you guys, well, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so you know whenever new videos pop up. And let's be friends. Follow me over on Instagram at Dina_pursuing_peace. All right, you guys, well, I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I will see you next week with another video. Bye. Homeschooling mama of 5 kiddos, 6, nope, not 6 anymore. Decompose is probably not the right word. Recompose? I don't know what the word is. Number 2. The second thing that I would tell myself is, and for example, my, oh, I don't even know what I'm saying, y'all. Oh man, is this here the whole time?